Our next speaker is somebody that we have a great respect for, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. 14 years prior to representing his hometown of Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District, Brian Fitzpatrick served our nation both as an FBI special agent and federal prosecutor, fighting both domestic and international political corruption and supporting global counterterrorism and counterintelligence efforts, including being embedded with U.S. Special Forces as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Working to promote freedom and democracy at home and abroad, Brian also served as National Director for the FBI's Campaign Finance and Election Crimes Enforcement Program and as a National Supervisor for the FBI's Public Corruption Unit at FBI headquarters, where he was recognized as an expert in restoring integrity to governmental institutions. In the 119th Congress, Congressman Fitzpatrick sits on the Ways and Means Committee. Additionally, he holds a key leadership role on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, serving as chairman of the CIA subcommittee and as a member of the subcommittee on open source intelligence. Congressman Fitzpatrick is a delegate to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly and a champion for bipartisan leadership, co-chairing nearly 20 caucuses and task forces dedicated to strengthening Pennsylvania's 1st District, our nation, and global security. Among others, he serves as co-chair of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus, Congressional Ukraine Caucus, Bipartisan Task Force for Combating Anti-Semitism, Congressional Fire Services Caucuses, House Cancer Caucus, and the Bipartisan Mental Health and Substance Use Disorder Task Force. Congressman Fitzpatrick is a licensed attorney, a certified public accountant, and a certified medical technician. I can't say enough about what Brian Fitzpatrick has done for the Teamsters. Never, ever has he said once to the Teamsters on a request or an ask. He always picks up the phone. He calls and asks if we need anything. He doesn't come to us asking for things. He offers his services, and as busy as this guy is, for him to take the time to talk to me and President O'Brien and Fred Zuckerman, it's amazing that he has the time and efforts and the will to do all this. But God bless him and welcome him up. Brian Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everybody. I know sports can be a pretty divisive thing in Pennsylvania, but I do represent the Philadelphia region, and our Eagles are coming to D.C. today, and I'm asked to welcome them at the Capitol when they get there, so that's where I'm going to be headed next. For you Steelers fans, you've had plenty of Super Bowls, so let's be real, right? Thank you so much, President Hamilton, General President O'Brien, Secretary Treasury of the Treasurer, Mr. Zuckerman, Danny Grace, my friend and constituent. I want to first thank you all for inviting me into your family. All of us have entered our professions due to some predictable and some unpredictable circumstances. As Billy was mentioning, I was an FBI agent my whole life, my favorite job I've ever had. The only thing I ever wanted to do as a kid. And my brother Mike was my predecessor in Congress, and my last FBI assignment, my last international assignment was in Ukraine, working out of Kyiv Station, and but my last domestic assignment I was out in Los Angeles. The FBI is like the military; they send you wherever they need you. And when I came home for Thanksgiving of 2015, my brother Mike had shared with me first, and then the rest of our family, that he had a terminal cancer diagnosis. He passed away several years ago. My brother Mike has 6 kids. My only other brother, Jim, is special needs, so I needed to get home. And the FBI is a one-way street. Once you leave, you can't go back. So I literally needed a job, and I decided to run for my brother's seat for Congress. So I've never liked politics, never liked politicians. I still don't, but here I am. So when I came into Congress, the first group of individuals, if you will, that I wanted to get to know better were our brothers and sisters in labor. For a very simple reason. I'm entirely apolitical. And the one memory I have of my grandfather, who I'm the youngest of 8, so he died when I was very young. He was an immigrant from Ireland, County Leitrim, for any of our Irish ethnic friends here. And he told me when I was very young, he was bobbing me up and down on his knee, and he said that the unions had saved him, and that but for the unions, we wouldn't be here. He was a blacksmith by trade. He joined the Iron Workers Union in New York City, came in through Ellis Island. Great American story, like so many of us have. And I've never forgotten that the unions saved him, and the unions are the reason that he was able to have a family and settle. They started in New York City, ended up coming to Pennsylvania, to Levittown. And so when I came into Congress, I wanted to build those relationships. Obviously, in law enforcement, you don't really deal with labor that much. But now as a policymaker, we clearly do. And I had the chance to first meet Danny, and then Billy, and then President O'Brien, and all of you. And not just in the Teamsters. And the Teamsters have, an iconic union with a long history dating all the way back to 1903. But so many amazing people in the operating engineers and IBW and all the amazing people. You are the easiest people to work with, I will tell you, as a policymaker, because you're salt of the earth, real, genuine people. We don't get to deal with a lot of people like that in our job. There's a lot of fakeness in politics, unfortunately. You are genuine salt of the earth people that you actually want to hang out with outside of work. And the cause you're fighting for is just, and it's right. And the reason why labor is so easy to support, and I do believe that I serve a unique role being in the conference that I'm from to make these bills bipartisan, including a bill that me and Bobby Scott co-authored, co-introduced, called the PRO Act, which is really the Super Bowl of labor provisions. It contains every single ask across the spectrum of every union to make sure that that's a foundational document that we now hold up to say that if you care about the American worker, get behind this bill. Well, I was proud to make that a bipartisan two-party bill, which is very, very important because it instantly gives it credibility in the U.S. House of Representatives. It's been voted on the floor. It passed the floor, obviously, with my vote, stalled in the Senate last Congress. The Senate's tricky because they have the filibuster, so we need 60 votes. We have a simple majority requirement in the House, but we're not going to stop until we get that done because it's the right thing to do. Why is it the right thing to do? Number one, because it supports the nuts and bolts of America, which is each and every one of you. And my brothers and sisters in labor, I believe to be the most patriotic people in this country. You are people that love America. You're thankful for the country that we were born in, the country that's done more good for more people and more nations than any other nation ever has and any other nation ever will. You are the nuts and bolts. It's not the corporate executives. It's not the corporations. It's not the people trying to exploit labor loopholes. It's the people that are working hard, playing by the rules, just want a decent job. They want the respect of a job. They want safe working conditions. They want fair wages so that they can love their family. That should never be too much to ask for any government officer or policymaker to support, which is why it's very, very easy for me to support. So how am I going about doing that? Obviously, co-authoring the PRO Act, that's a big, big one because that's the Super Bowl of labor provisions. It was actually our group that put the bipartisan infrastructure bill over the finish line. So many of you recall last Congress, or it might have been 2 Congresses ago, I forget which year President Biden signed it into law, but we had a massive infrastructure investment bill, $550 billion bill that would really invest in all the nuts and bolts infrastructure in our country. And you had elements of both parties that were opposing it. So the progressives were opposing it on the left because they viewed it as too much quote-unquote hard infrastructure and not enough social infrastructure. You had opposition on the right because of the expense, which infrastructure, as everyone here knows, is not an expense, it's an investment. For every dollar you spend in an infrastructure, you get in droves in return on a whole host of fronts. And it passed actually with the group that I lead, the Problem Solvers, actually stepping in. A group of Democrats and Republicans that actually carried that. It was outcome determinative. Our votes actually put it across the finish line. And that's where I really want to get back to is the cause of labor and those who support it. And I want to compliment the Teamsters and your leadership for this. you all care about labor. You don't care about a party. You don't care about any person or individual. You care about the cause. And the reason why that's so important, particularly from a strategic standpoint, is that labor, more so than any other cause that I'm aware of on Capitol Hill, is shielded and protected from drastic negative action because you built coalitions across the spectrum. So if an anti-labor provision comes up, regardless of which party controls the floor, if any anti-labor provision comes up, me and I have an outcome-determinative number of colleagues that will kill that measure, whether it's in an appropriations bill, whether it's in a reconciliation bill, whatever it's in. If there is an anti-labor provision, we will vote it down on the floor of the House. And we are going to do that. So I really say that as a credit to you all and to your leadership for building those relationships across the spectrum. Because as we've all seen in American history, the pendulum always has and always will swing back and forth. That's such a truism in American politics. But to have a rock-solid, ironclad coalition that no matter which way that pendulum is shifting is going to always protect labor is so critically important. It's important to the movement. And I want to just end with this. We are about to celebrate 249 years as a nation. So in July of 2026, we will celebrate 250 years as a nation, as the United States of America. That may seem like a long time, but that is not. That is just a few generations. And yet, we are the world's oldest democracy. Think about that. No democracy has survived this planet more than a few generations. And all of us are guilty of taking that for granted. We can't fathom waking up in a world where the US dollar is not the world's currency standard. We can't fathom waking up in a world where the United States of America is not the world's military and economic superpower. But that could go away like that. Look at our friends in Ukraine. They were 31 years into their independence, and they're fighting tooth and nail to save it. In fact, I just got back. I was there for a week. I just got back a few days ago. Met with President Zelensky, went to the front lines in Kharkiv on the Russian border to give those troops a morale boost, because I view those troops very similar to how I viewed the Continental Army in 1776, fighting a brutal, oppressive force, all in the name of protecting independence and freedom. And we always must stand by that cause, and I know the Teamsters do as well. So thank you for having me. This is not a relationship that's based on policy. This is a friendship. It's a blood connection that runs deep, and you can't break that. And I will always have your back. So thank you for having me.